I like throwing a curveball or two at the beginning. For both of you, if look, I'm a big fan of both of your work, and so, but there are going to be people out there that have never seen anything you've done before. So, if someone has never seen anything you've done, what is the first thing you'd like them watching, and why?
Oh, in general.
Yeah.
Ooh, dear.
I always want people to watch. The thing I get the most pleasure from when I run into strangers in the street, they're like, "Oh, I saw you in," and I'm like waiting for like what maybe mediocre film they saw me in. When people say they saw The Gift, and I think it's just because I like to think that my fingerprints were so all over that beyond just being an actor. Other than that, I'd tell them to go watch Warrior and have the assumption that I was actually a real tough guy, which I'm not.
Sigourney?
That's really hard.
Sigourney's just clicking through 100 awesome films.
Exactly.
I want them to watch the gorilla movie because they would learn about conservation. I mean, the gorillas are no longer on the endangered list, but they will always be endangered. So, I mean, that's unfortunately so many creatures are under tremendous stress, and the human world is not helping them at all. So, I guess it's fun. It's great to be able to pursue this profession, and every now and then you get to do a movie that has a big
benefit.
Yeah, a big benefit.
Yeah, I was curious what you were going to say, Sigourney, because your resume is, pardon my language, fucking incredible.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm still.
Yeah.
Believe me, yes. So for both of you also, if someone, you guys have done a lot of roles. What do you think was actually the most work you've done before stepping on set for one of your projects in terms of preparation as an actor?
Wow. I think for me, it was Carrie. I had 5 years to work on it because we kept being delayed. 5 years to sort of undo whoever I was at that point and reconstitute my 13, 14-year-old. So I didn't mean to work on it that much. It just turned out to be a kind of lucky thing for me because by the time I got to do it, I was completely over what anything would be like to anybody else but me. That's clear.
So same two movies for me, The Gift, because, I wrote it and I was thinking about it constantly and rewriting it for 5 years. But the hardest work as an actor is Warrior, because we were just, some things I think you can turn up and fake. There are the physical aspects of that we really just needed to get there early, and I think it was three months early. And every day, all day, training and getting the skills for that.
Sigourney, I did love your work in Avatar too. The character you played, I couldn't believe how you channeled being a teenager. My last thing, it's an individual question for you, Sigourney, before getting into this film. I love Galaxy Quest. I want to stress the word love. And I'm just curious, when did you realize that it meant a lot to so many people?
I almost said I'd want to see Galaxy Quest first instead of Gorillas in the Mist, because that is the way I really felt in outer space, like a blonde who doesn't really know how to do anything. And so for me to play this character who could figure everything out and know what buttons to push and do this and use a flamethrower and all this stuff, that was acting, man. I really am Gwen. And I love that. The movie is a love letter to all actors who go off and do these crazy stories.
I cannot recommend that film enough to anyone who has not seen it. It's incredible. Jumping into why I get to talk to you guys today. I know you both read a lot of scripts, and I'm sure there's a lot of filmmakers that want to work with you. What was it about this project that said, oh, I need to do this?
For me, it was Paul, getting the phone call from a guy like Paul to be one of his leading men after having really, really been obsessed by First Reformed, in particular in his recent filmography. And then reading the script with real nervous, fearful kind of like, hoping that what I'm reading is enticing enough and exciting enough. And it was, for all the films of his that I've watched, I've never read his screenplays, which is a real pleasure because they're incredibly different. I mean, they still look the same and they're generally, it's a screenplay, but there's an elegance and an efficiency and a kind of a reluctance to overly explain histories of characters, flashes of understanding of the past, but no abundance of exposition. And the exposition that's there is very elegantly sort of placed and very artfully placed. So, yeah, I mean, script plus Paul, it was a real honor, I think, for me. I remember thinking at someone, because it was during COVID, I was like, does he really want me to do this? Is he like senile and he's accidentally called the wrong person? I feel like that every movie, to be honest.
Well, I was sent the script and I was so surprised to be offered a Paul Schrader script, which, he's known for such very powerful male characters. And I really felt that in Taxi Driver, he has these two incredible women in it, and that this, in an odd way, was a revisiting of these two different characters, very different, but the fact that the male character was going back and forth between these in a kind of triangle. I thought it was such an arresting script, so beautifully written, so elegant. And the idea of working with Paul Schrader, who's one of our great master filmmakers. I met him the next day, I think. And I completely forgot to fawn on him and tell him how much I admired him and how much I like this and that. I just went straight to what about this? What about that? What about this? And I realized later that I should have fawned on him a little bit, but I was so excited. I just wanted to get to talking about the script. He gave me the part.
I was going to say it worked out. Speaking of fawning, Joel, I'm just curious, when you're working with someone like Sigourney, how many days into the shoot before you started geeking out over the ice storm or Ghostbusters or Alien or 50 other projects that Sigourney has done?
I like to keep a lot of this inside. And now it's bubbling to the surface as you're talking right now. We've worked together before. We worked on Exodus with Ridley.
Yeah.
So we had a bit of a chance. I
played his mother.
Yeah.
And he had a very wonderful part in that, a very complex person that was cut down to being kind of a villainous person, but
we also, we got to ride around in a golf cart in London at the studios and stuff. So I've done a bit of fawning, but there's a lot more fawning I could do.
Fawning is mutual. Fawning is very mutual. I was thrilled to be doing this with Joel.
No, you got. Oh, I was going to say you guys are also great together. One of the things I really enjoyed was Andrew's cinematography. I like the simplicity of where the camera is placed. And it's sort of like with Paul, there's nothing unnecessary. It's just very to the point, Can you sort of talk about that aspect?
I'm probably interrupting a question you're leading to, but you really nailed it. And I don't know if you've read stuff that he's said about this, but I remember being really impressed by the design, cinematography, and the design of First Reformed, and I being on set with Paul, I realized what he does, and hopefully I'm not giving away a trick, but other people should use it anyway, is that he looks at the set and he takes away anything that's unnecessary for the scene, so that there's these sets that are populated by the actors and the chair that they need to sit on and maybe a certain prop, but everything else is sort of systematically stripped away until it feels like only what's necessary is there. And I think that says a lot about not just the set, but the way he approaches his writing and the way he shoots and even the way he talks to actors. It's always concise.
I was also going to say something about Paul is that he seems to love telling stories about someone with a dark past hiding behind like a day job who eventually has to explore something that they are uncomfortable exploring. You know, he tends to, a lot of these stories. Did he ever tell you what his fascination with these kind of characters are?
Well, I feel like it's sort of been a thing for him forever. Look, it's a really good question to ask Paul, actually, exactly. is where he sees the repetition of that, you know, because he is playing variations on a song all of the time. But you know, in Master Gardener, it seems like, and I think he, you know, to relatively quote Paul from the other night, talking about, you know, that in his early days he was desperate to tell the world "fuck you," and that in this film he's starting to move towards telling the world "I love you," and I think there's a softening in this film, albeit it still carries the marks of everything you're talking about. There's this sort of contrast of worlds of violence versus a sort of a new peaceful future, and the day job versus the kind of razor sharp violence of the. Yeah, I'm really curious about that too. If you find out the answer, could you let me know? And I'm going to ask him on Friday.
Yeah,
I'll text you. I won't text you. for both of you, I love learning about the behind the scenes, the making of movies, television. So for soon to be fans of the film, is there anything that you think might surprise them about the making of the film?
Oh, I'll tell you a couple of things. I mean, just quickly, the movie shot much faster than you would think, 20 days. Paul was wearing an eye patch the entire time because in the window he had to shoot it, he realized that he had to put off an eye surgery that was necessary. So he looked like John Ford, just kind of directing, you know, he was a little unwell, you know, during that time, but I've never seen anyone shoot a 20-day shoot. And usually it's for, you know, a young filmmaker. And the energy is like you're being chased down the street by a bear. Like there's no time for anything and everybody's panicking. I've never seen someone shoot a movie in 20 days and be so calm about it.
he didn't. Yeah, because he wasn't feeling that well. I think there was no extra energy for any drama, for any long conversation. Luckily, Alexander has worked with him before, so there was a spareness to the way they had a thing. You know, they kind of must have talked a lot, but I mean, he brought every discipline with him when he was directing, the editing, the writing, the cinematography, all, you know, he can do everything. And so I think only someone like that could shoot this movie that fast when he wasn't feeling his best. And
did you notice his cameo in the film?
No.
I actually didn't notice the cameo.
Is he a white supremacist?
No, he's in the film.
Is he in the
well, I don't know for certain whether he put himself in the cut, but he did play in a scene in the NA or Alcoholics Anonymous moment. I'm gonna find out if he's still in there. But if he is, that's his Alfred Hitchcock moment.
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice it. I'm out of time with you guys, but can I ask just one last question? I'm not sure if they're going to kick me out.
I'm going to say yes.
Right. It's an individual question for both of you. Joel, I'm actually really excited for Dark Matter because of what it's about and the whole alternate reality, multiverse kind of thing. I wanted to know if you could just tease people what it's about. And Sigourney, I have to ask you, they're filming a certain Ghostbusters sequel right now. And is there any chance that you could be popping up in it?
Yeah, God, do that. I'm her agent now. I'm going to take that. I wouldn't have 10%.
I play Slimer's mother.
Dark Matter is very sliding doors as the quickest possible reference. And the question, it raises these amazing questions about the life you didn't choose to live. And if you had the chance of doing it, would you covet that, take it over? And to tease something else for anyone, apart from my mother, who's a fan of mine, towards the end of the series, I think I played 25 plus versions of the same person.
Wow.
So if you're not a fan of mine, don't watch it.
Is this
because it'd be oversaturated? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the thing that I've always thought about is, you get offered to move, like you get offered a job in Paris, and if you take that, your life could radically change. Or if you don't go, and we always have these choices, and I think the series deals with that, which I find fascinating.
Yeah, that's what it tried.
Yeah, I like how Sigourney didn't answer my question, but I'll take it.
No, I mean, I listen. I've been very busy, but no one. I wasn't asked to be in this Ghostbusters, and I think a little of us goes a long way in this.
Well, they're not supposed to call you. You're supposed to call them, right? That's what the song says. Who are you going to call?
Right. Listen, I want to thank you so much for giving me extra time, and also congrats on the movie. I thought you guys did such a great job with it. And, thank you for giving me your time.
Well, man, thank you. Good to see you.